Semper aliquid novi Africam adfere. According to Pliny the Elder, out of Africa there's always something new. And indeed that's true, because many of the bizarre animals we've talked about in previous episodes, like the elephants and the Sirenians, come from Africa or nearby. In my previous videos, we already discussed how elephants and Sirenians are closely related, and based on a common ancestors that live in Africa and the Middle East around 55 million years ago. This was the region that was once the Great Tethys Seaway, running from Gibraltar to Indonesia during the age of dinosaurs, and only broke up when India collided with Asia around 60 million years ago. For that reason, this grouping of Sirenians and Proboscideans was named the Afrotheria in 1975 by my graduate advisor, Malcolm McKenna. Once the Afrotheria were recognized and accepted, the question then arose, what other mammals might have been related to them? For over a century, there was another order of mammals known as the Ambrithopoda, which originally included just one genus and species of mammal, the strange extinct rhino-like beast known as Arsinoitherium, from beds around 33 million years old in Egypt. First discovered by the British paleontologist Charles W. Andrews in Egypt in 1900, no one had any clue as what it was related to, until McKenna and my good friend Earl Manning realized in 1977 that there were other Arsinoitherium fossils from Turkey, such as Paleoamasia, and from Romania, such as Cravatiatherium, which tied Arsinoitheres to the Tethithers. Another group of extinct, mysterious mammals who were in zoological limbo for a long time were the Desmostylians. They looked hippo-like in some ways, but they are always found in marine beds, suggesting they lived in a nearshore setting. Their most peculiar feature was their molar teeth, which looked like the bundle of volcanoes. Their name, Desmostylia, means bundle of columns in Greek. They had large skulls with big tusks pointing forward, eye sockets high on the top of their heads, and massive bodies. They included such huge creatures as Neoparadoxia, Paleoparadoxia, and Desmostylus. All these animals were too specialized to tie them into any other known group of mammals. Then, in 1971, a skull of a much older, more primitive Desmostylian named Behematops was found on the north shore of the Olympic Peninsula of Washington. In 1986, it was described by Daryl Domning, Clayton Ray, and McKenna, and it showed that Desmostylians were similar to primitive Proboscideans and yet another group related to Tethithers. Recent research shows that Desmostylians were full-time swimmers and spent their entire lives in the ocean, and their bones were not strong enough to spend much time on land. The chemistry of their teeth confirms they ate mostly marine algae, kelp, and other aquatic plants, and they lived only on the Pacific Rim, from Japan to Alaska to Oregon to Washington and down to Baja California, from about 25 million years ago until they vanished around 5 million years ago. In recent years, many other groups of mammals, whose affinities with the rest of mammalia were unclear, have now been associated with the Tethithers and their kin. One of these groups of mammals are the Hyraxes, which look a bit like groundhogs, but they have hooves on their toes and teeth shaped like those of rhinos. They are common in rocky outcrops and trees in Africa and the Middle East. No one knew what their closest relatives were for a long time, until some anatomical evidence plus molecular evidence placed them next to the Tethithers. However, they have a long fossil record in Africa, going back to 45 million years ago, where they range from small creatures like the modern species to huge hippo-like forms, such as Titanohyrax. There's also rhino-like and hippo-like forms in Eurasia for millions of years, such as Cavabihyrax and Pachyhyrax. Today, its once great diversity of form that started in Africa and then flourished in Eurasia is down to just a few species. Finally, the molecular data has shown that a wide range of other groups of mammals, whose relationships were long mysterious, are all distant relatives of the Tethithers. Since most of them are known from Africa or originated Africa, like the Tethithers did, they have been christened the Afrotheria. These include the aardvark, whose fossil record is restricted to just a few specimens from Africa and the Mediterranean, like this specimen of Amphiorictoropus from the Greek island of Samos. The Afrotheria also includes the insectivorous tenrex, restricted to Madagascar, and the giant otter shrews or potamogale of West Africa, plus the golden moles or chrysochlorids, which live in the sand dunes of Africa, and the elephant shrews or Macrocelidia. All of these creatures are zoological oddities whose affinities are mysterious, but molecular biologists now place them all in the Afrotheria. The Afrotheria originally based strictly on similarity in molecular sequences and not based on any hard anatomical evidence. But in 2014, a fossil skull was reported from beds around 60 million years old in Morocco, which seems to be a primitive relative not only of the Tethithers, but also the rest of the Afrotheres. Dubbed Ocypea, It is the oldest known fossil in the Afrotheria and seems to support the molecular evidence that all these different animals once had a common ancestor in Africa at least 60 million years ago. So, from elephants and manatees, the trail has led to sirenians, arsinotheres, desmostylians, hyraxes, and a wide spectrum of other animals who look nothing like elephants, but apparently all closely related to them.